Let us try to understand how to add fractions. Now fractions, as you know, are part of whole. So what we need to do is, first we should have equal parts. If you have equal parts, then only we can add fractions. Otherwise, we cannot add fractions. Now we have a couple of examples here, 6 to do, right? So we'll start with the very first one, which is 2 out of 5 plus 1 out of 5. Now in this case, you see it is 2/5 and 1/5. If you add them up, what do you get? 2 plus 1 is 3. So you get 3/5, right? That was easy. Adding similar things is always possible. 1/5 plus 2/5 is 3/5. So when the denominators are same, you just add the numerators, correct? So that is first way of adding. So when same denominators, we also call this as common denominators, right? So same denominators, or let me use the other term which we will be using most of the time, which is common denominator. So when we have common denominator, then we can add. So in that case, what should we do? We should add numerators, right? In that case, straight away, same or common denominator and then add numerators. And then you write down your answer. And remember, whenever you write down your answer, denominator remains same, right? So here you get the answer. Common denominator and here you get sum of numerator, right? Or when you add them, you get the sum, right? You get sum of numerators. At times, you can add more than 2 fractions, correct? So if there are 3 fractions, add all 3 of them, the numerators. But before that, you have to make common denominator. So you have to follow these 3 steps to add fractions. Now in this case, denominator was given to us as common, right? Most of the time, it is not given to us. In that case, we try to make it common. So first step is to have common denominator. Second, add numerators. And third, write it as answer sum of numerator divided by common denominator, right? At times what happens? We get some fractions which can be simplified, right? In that case, you need to simplify, right? So that is an operation you need to do. So you need to simplify and then write equivalent fraction as your answer. Do you understand? So we will go through these steps and learn how to add fractions. So in the first case, we have common denominator of 5, right? So we already have the first step done for us. Second is add numerators. 2 plus 1 is 3. So we write equals to sum of numerators on the top and common denominator in denominator. So we get 3 over 5. Now this need not be simplified. Both are prime numbers. They don't have any multiples, right? Common multiples. So they cannot be simplified. So that is our final answer. Now in this particular case, again, I would like you to do. We have common denominator, right? And here also we have common denominator. Do you see that? So this one I'll leave for you to do. And I'll take up the third one. And the third one is, so this you can do, right? Here we already have common denominator. You have to add the numerators. Write sum of numerators on the top and the common denominator here as a denominator to get your answer, right? In this case, what do we have as common denominator? It is 12. And the numerator, we have 5 plus 7. So if I add 5 and 7, what do I get? I get 12. So I get 12 over 12. Do you see that? Now 12 over 12 can be written as 1 whole. Correct? So at times you may get 1 or more than 1 as your answer. So in this particular case, we get 5 plus 7 is 12. 12 out of 12. So we have selected all the parts. That means as a whole, we have selected it all. which means 1, right? So here the answer is 1. Remember, 1 is improper fraction, okay? Now, these are the ones where we do not have common denominator. As you can see, 10 and 5. It is not the same. Since the denominator is not same, the situation is it is not same. So we need to find some way to make it same. Now how can you do that? Now as you can see, 5 times 2 is 10. So if I multiply both numerator and denominator by 2, I will get 2 out of 10, right? And we already have 3 out of 10. In this case, we have made denominators same, right? So that's the first step we have done. So we do have a common denominator, which is 10. That will come in our answer. As we can write our answer as out of 10, and the numerator add them up and write here. So we have 3 plus 2 as 5. So we get 5 over 10 as our answer. But is that the final answer? We need to simplify since we have 5 as common multiple, right? So you can factor out 5. You can divide both by 5 and get what? 1 over 2. So 1 over 2 is an equivalent fraction. 5 over 10 can be written as 1 over 2. So our answer is 1 over 2 or half. Do you see that? So in this particular question, we have applied all the steps. Step number 1, make same denominators. So we found that 5 can be multiplied by 2, and if we do that, we have same denominators. Now remember, if you multiply 5, which is the denominator, you have to multiply numerator also. So you get equivalent fraction. 2 over 10 is same as 1 over 5. Then add them up. Numerators add and they remain in numerator 5 as sum of 3 and 2. Denominator, we only write the common denominator 10. Since 5 and 10 have common factor of 5, we can divide both by 5 and write them as equivalent fraction in the most simplified way, which is half. So that's the last step. Simplify into an equivalent fraction and then write it down. Okay, so follow the same process here also. What is the common denominator here? Well, at present, denominators are different. They are 7 and 14. But we can make them 14. How? Multiply, we'll use another ring. So multiply this by 2, this also by 2. We know 7 times 2 is 14. So you need to multiply both numerator and denominator. So you get 6 over 14 plus 5 over 14, right? Now you can write down your answer as denominator of 14 and numerator of their sum, 6 plus 5. 6 plus 5 is 11. Now can you simplify this? No. So leave it as such. That becomes your final answer. Okay? Now let's do the last one, which is 4 over 9 and 1 over 3. Now 9 is a multiple of 3 and we know 3 times 3 is 9. So we'll multiply both numerator and denominator by 3 and so we get 4 over 9 plus 3 over 9. Now we have a common denominator. So when same denominators are there, we can add numerators. Go through the steps once again. First step, make the denominators same. We call it common denominator. Then add numerators. 4 plus 3, 7. Write your answer as sum of numerators, which is 7, over common denominator, which is 9. Simplify it. Can you simplify it further? No. So that is your final answer. So that is how you do addition of fractions. So I'll give you some more practice problems. I hope you understand the concepts. I'll appreciate. Go through this video once again. Stop in between. Write your answer, then move forward. Right? That way you will understand the concept and you will be able to do the next video on your own, which will be on adding fractions. Thank you and all the best.